Botero was asked once, "Why did you move to New York?" And he answered, "Because I'm a masochist." He said that he could have stayed in Colombia, and as a painter, his aim could have been to be better than his neighbor. But Botero didn't only want to be better than his neighbor. He wanted to be the best painter in the world.
Botero's artworks are monumental. Botero himself had a monumental ambition. He wanted to be big, and after all, what's bigger than New York? Botero in New York is an exhibition focused on the 1960s, from 1960 to 1973, the period when Botero lived in the city, worked in the city as a struggling artist, and he developed his signature style, today known as Boterismo.
This is first and foremost a selling exhibition. Out of the 40 works that are on view, about 30 are for sale, but maybe more importantly, 10 of the works are only on loan, coming directly from the family, from the estate of the artist. And these are perhaps some of the works that best show you the development of Botero and his involvement throughout the period in New York.
Botero has one of the most recognizable styles in the world. Sunflowers demonstrates what became possible. The subject inevitably recalls Van Gogh, but Botero translates it into almost opposite terms. Van Gogh's flowers are animated by nervous energy and expressive brushwork. Botero's are dense, contained, and almost architectural.
What people immediately associate with Botero is, of course, volume. It is the volume of a figure, of a fruit, of an object, and that is really what is quintessentially Botero. Botero was once asked, "Why do you paint fat figures?" And Botero answered, "I don't. They look rather slim to me." This is everything that you need to know about Botero. He wants you to look at images that you're familiar with society portraits, with paintings of figures, with a cardinal, a pope, maybe a little girl, an animal, or just a still life. And he wants you to look at it from a different perspective. Take, for example, the Mona Lisa. Everybody is very familiar with Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa. We've seen it on reproductions around the world. We have seen it perhaps even at the Louvre in person. This is an image that is ingrained in our cultural DNA. Now we're looking at Botero's Mona Lisa, and it's a very different image. It's recognizably Mona Lisa, but it is a much larger figure. Her face takes over the entirety of the canvas. Through the different volume that he introduces on the figure, he questions, he asks us to relook again. He asks us to think about what we take for granted as an image that has been reproduced all over.
Botero is born in Medellin in 1932. He spends his early childhood living in Colombia, and by the time he's a young man, he moves to Mexico. It is here where he also continues to exhibit and develop what eventually becomes his early style that we see here in 1959. When he arrives in New York in 1960, this is the epicenter of abstraction. This is the home of the great Pollock and the Kooning and the New York School and the artists that became known as the abstract expressionists. He's an outsider, he's a Latin American figurative artist, and he is trying desperately to fit in a world that is basically seduced by abstraction and that continues to understand contemporary art through that lens. Botero, nonetheless, integrates some of that abstraction into his painting, but he never lets go of the figure.
What you see in the first gallery with the early works, such as the Apotheosis of Ramon Hoyos, you really see the influence of abstract expressionism on Botero. There are no clear borders, no clear lines. And as Botero moves to New York in 1960, you can see how the pictorial language slightly changes. He is very influenced by pop art and creates paintings with harder edges, clearer colors. In works such as the Still Life after Cézanne or the Bodegón El Jarrón, you can immediately see the influence of the city and the influence of pop art on Botero. The colors become much sharper, they're much stronger, they're really vibrant.
One fabulous example is the Still Life with Watermelon, where we have this incredible juicy fruits and colorful palette, very much reminiscent of Tamayo and the Mexican schools. His early style is also very balanced, it's very geometric. As the years progress, he starts to leave that behind, and what comes instead is this very compressed space, but the figures tend to be much more finely painted. In La Familia Protestante, for example, from 1969, you have Botero already achieving his mature style and includes a psychological tension that is a quality that he continues to develop throughout the 1970s in his works. Looking at the works here, you're surrounded by art history. Cézanne, Van Gogh, Monet, Da Vinci, they continue to be inspiration and a source for experimentation, but he makes it his own.
Take, for example, the work Picnic. You see a couple on a meadow, and you immediately think about Manet's Déjeuner sur l'herbe. And of course, that is the reference here. But Botero situates this in a landscape that is very reminiscent of his home country, Colombia, and probably is the cityscape of Medellin. This is exactly Botero taking the cue from art history and redefining it. I love that these are works that are very relatable. Botero doesn't try to disguise anything in his paintings.
He's a bold artist, he's brave, and he's very much grounded in art history, and yet he retains this level of playfulness and of irony. And that's exactly what continues to attract people to his work.